Part 139. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1390. Mu Zishuan's heart was beating wildly. He hurriedly put on his denim jacket, poured some water to wet his hands, and quickly scratched his head a few times to make his hairstyle cooler. Two girls outside just walked in, and Mu Zishuan put on a good face, watching a movie. It's 50 cents a game, 1 piece for a new movie, and 5 yuan for a private room to give soda and melon seeds. Seeing Bai Wei's astonished expression, the smile on Mu Zishuan's lips deepened. Boss, can it be cheaper? The girl next to Bai Wei tried to negotiate the price. Mu Zishuan looked at Bai Wei and smiled, no. The girl was stunned for a moment, and then she heard Mu Zishuan say, but it's free. How can I collect money when my friends come? Let's go to the second floor to have a look. The boxes on the second floor are clean. The girl was confused, followed Mu Zishuan's gaze to look at Bai Wei, and suddenly realized, ah, Bai Wei. So your friend runs a video studio. Bai Wei was extremely embarrassed. She glanced at Mu Zishuan, then looked away. He's not my friend. Mu Zishuan smiled indifferently, took 2 bottles of soda and melon seeds from the stall, turned and went upstairs. Let's go, I'll take you to the second floor. He found an empty room, put down the soda and melon seeds, and started tinkering with the video recorder. What movie do you want to watch? It's the one that looks really good. Its name is Nai Xiao Qian. You guys want to watch a Chinese ghost story, right? That's right, that's the movie. Mu Zishuan found the videotape of a Chinese ghost story, put it into the machine, adjusted the volume for them, and dutifully closed the curtains. Finally, he sat on a chair diagonally behind Bai Wei. Bai Wei was very uncomfortable when he was sitting here. She turned her head and asked him, don't you need to go out and take care of business? No, it's more important to take care of you, Mu Zishuan replied. Bai Wei blushed slightly, her eyes became more vivid because of anger. She pursed her lips and said, we don't need to take care of it, you go out, we want to see for ourselves. Mu Zishuan smiled and said, why are you being polite? The private rooms will provide special services, just like what I do now. Accompany me to eat, drink and watch. I guarantee the service until you are satisfied. The girl laughed out loud, and said, Bai Wei, your friend is so humorous. Bai Wei was even more embarrassed. What's the humor? After all, she had nothing to do with Mu Zishuan, so she turned around helplessly, watched the movie with her friends, and ignored him. The theme song of the movie sounded leisurely, with Cantonese singing and melodious tunes, which immediately brought people into the story scene. Bai Wei's expression became focused and serious, as if she had forgotten that there was a bad guy sitting behind her who had bad intentions for her. Mu Zishuan rested his chin and stared at her infatuatedly. The line of the side face, the color of the pupils, the hair on the sideburns, the outline of the ears, and the folds on the dress that gathered or scattered according to the posture. Just watching silently like this, there is no need to speak. Every tiny discovery on her body can bring him great happiness. Unable to restrain himself, Mu Zishuan stretched out his hand silently, and gently held Bai Wei's hand. She expected that she would stare at him in shame, or withdraw her hands in panic, but unexpectedly, Bai Wei didn't move. Mu Zishuan couldn't help being surprised, and tentatively, he scratched her palm with his fingertips. Bai Wei's eyelashes trembled slightly. Mu Zishuan laughed silently. I thought, I can't see it, but she can pretend quite well. No matter what her reason was, in short, it was cheap for him. The theme song of the movie, the sound is in my ears. The road of life, the dream is like a long road. The wind and frost on the road, the wind and frost on the face dry. In the world of mortals, how many directions do dreams have? Looking for love in Crazy Dream Center. The road follows the crowd. Musician held Bai Wei's hand all the time. He doesn't know where to put the film, he just thinks that this moment is his dream in the world of mortals and the beauty of a good day. If possible, he hopes that his whole life will be like this moment, looking at her, holding her, and being with her. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 1391. For the same song, Musician remembered the first half, but Bai Wei remembered the second half. The road to the world, happy boy. The road is rough, the sun is not visible on the rough road. In the dust, how many directions does happiness have? A dream-like storm. The road is boundless. At that time, she didn't know that the sentence reflected the fate of the young man behind her, but she felt sad when listening to it, and she seemed to be able to empathize with the hesitation and confusion. By the end of the film, the backlog of emotions finally poured out. The two girls burst into tears, feeling sorry for the parting of the hero and heroine in the movie. Boss Mu provided them with tissues for free. Bai Wei was immersed in the sadness after watching the movie. She wiped her tears silently, and didn't care about Musician taking advantage of her. In fact, at the beginning, she was worried about being noticed by her friends, so she didn't dare to move. Later, when I watched the movie and watched it, I got into the plot, and my mind was all in the movie, and I even forgot about it. Now, after wiping her tears for a while, her emotions slowly calmed down, and she finally remembered that she had held hands with this guy for more than an hour. Embarrassment, anger, helplessness, all kinds of emotions intertwined. Bai Wei bit her lip and looked at him, wanted to hit him, but couldn't reach out, wanted to scold him, but couldn't. I want to watch the movie and come back next time, Musician said with a smile. Bai Wei. She swallowed her anger and left. Musician smiled and was in a good mood. Humming a song, he was about to go downstairs to look for Huang Mao to change his clothes, when he inadvertently saw a lady's bag on the chair, who left it behind. Boss, have you seen my bag? The girl went back and forth, hurried back and saw her bag at a glance. It really landed here. She immediately breathed a sigh of relief, picked up her bag and was about to leave. Musician called her to stop, and picked up the keychain on the ground. There is this one, don't run around again if you can't find the key. Ah, thank you so much. The girl's face showed a look of rejoicing. If I lose the key, I can't even enter the house. At the end, he smiled and looked at Musician again. Little boss, you are a pretty good person. You are sincere and good looking. If you are more active and seize the opportunity, you will still be very competitive. Musician heard her implication, raised his eyebrows with a smile. How do you say it? Bai Wei has quite a few suitors in our courtyard. Some suitors will pass if they are rejected, but some are not very authentic. Because of their high position and some money at home, they are specially given to the suitors. Don't mention how bad it is for people to stumble in small shoes. The girl sighed melancholy, and looked at Musician with her eyes. If I were Bai Wei, whoever could help me in such a situation, I would be so moved. Musician understood, and said with a smile, thanks, I'll treat you to dinner another day. Come on, the girl waved her hand, picked up her bag and trotted away. Bai Wei waited on the side of the road for a while, and finally when her friend came back, she couldn't help but say a few words to her. Look at you, you lost everything, but fortunately you found it back. There are a lot of fish and dragons in that place. What if the bag is picked up by someone else? Oh, you also know that good and evil are mixed up, so I want you to accompany me back to find the bag, but you refuse. The friend took the opportunity to complain. That's because. Bai Wei was at a loss for words. She pursed her lips with a slightly troubled expression. The friend smiled and said, you are shy, right? You like that young boss? No, Bai Wei's eyes widened. I saw you holding hands. When Bai Wei heard this, Her entire face turned red. I, I'm because he's too strong. I can't break free. The friend is curious, you really don't like him? I don't like it, Bai Wei said angrily, why should I like him? Then, how did you feel when he held your hand? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1392. Of course it's a very annoying feeling, Bai Wei said, very annoying, very angry, very, 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 very disliked. Her friend stared at her blankly, blinked her eyes, and whispered, don't get excited, you seem guilty when you get excited. Bai Wei. Take a deep breath and adjust your emotions. She said again, anyway, I hate him. He didn't do anything heinous, why do you care so much? The friend smiled maliciously, when someone pursued you before, I didn't see such a big reaction from you. I see, you just like him. Bai Wei was really anxious, she blushed and said, if you say that again, I will get angry. Oh, don't say it, haha, someone is shy. I'm angry, not shy. How red is your face? It's all because of you. Bai Wei argued with her friends all the way, until she returned home, her heart was still weird and she couldn't calm down. He looked down at his hands. It's really embarrassing to be held by a boy. Isn't it natural to be shy? Yes, that's right, it's normal for her to be shy, and being shy doesn't mean she likes him. However, if you want to say something disgusting, it seems, not. In fact, girls like them who are nurses will encounter embarrassing things from time to time. For example, last time, a hooligan was injured in a fight and lived in the hospital. The other nurses were also unlucky. This guy touched their thighs and pinched their buttocks. These are small actions, but they are extremely disgusting. Later, the gangster was discharged from the hospital, and all the nurses in the hospital breathed a sigh of relief. Bai Wei still remembers the feeling that day, how can I describe it well, although she just touched her hand lightly, it was like being touched by a greasy poisonous snake, nauseating, uncomfortable, and goosebumps all over her body. She wasn't blushing. At that time, her face turned pale, startled and frightened. I am afraid that the other party will mess up, and I am also afraid that the other party will complain. The doctor-patient relationship is very tense no matter what era. Bai Wei walked into the gate and went to her own residence. Her family's medical clinic is actually quite large. The house was passed down from her ancestors. The front yard is where doctors and medicines are taken, and the backyard is where people live. There are also 2 side courtyards and a garden. Bai Wei's mother used to take care of the garden, but now it's a bit barren, and when spring comes, weeds are overgrown, it's a bit wild. Walking through the front yard where all kinds of medicinal materials are drying, I met my uncle and aunt, and vaguely heard them discussing that the business is getting worse and worse, and several apprentices have left, and that the neighborhood may be demolished, and the developer wants to build a building. Bai Wei walked over in silence. When Grandpa was there, the Bai family clinic was quite famous, but after passing down to the uncle and her father's generation, it plummeted. Chinese medicine is a bit embarrassing. The embarrassment is that you must understand it comprehensively and profoundly in order to gain people's trust. If you only understand 6 or 7 points, half-baked medical skills are equivalent to no medical skills for patients. Unlike Western medicine, those who treat the skin can specialize in the treatment of the skin, and those who treat the ear, nose, and throat can specialize in the treatment of the ear, nose and throat. Bai Wei returned to the room, put down her bag, and went to see her mother as usual. The little aunt was also there, holding a bowl and feeding water to Mama by spoonful by spoonful. Some of it was fed in, and some flowed down the corner of her mouth, wetting the soft towel on the neckline. "Auntie, let me come." Bai Wei walked over. "No need," Bai Suxin whispered, "there are some things that I don't have the chance to do in the future." Bai Wei felt uncomfortable when she heard that her aunt was about to marry far away. "Promise my aunt something, okay?" "What's the matter?" Bai Wei asked. Bai Suxin said in a low voice, "After I leave, that medicine, don't take it anymore." Writing from the period of adolescence is a decision I made after repeated consideration. The foreshadowing of the previous article is solved by this plot. Well, the writing of this episode is more troublesome than the main text. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1393. Bai Wei said hesitantly, "But, Dad said that meridian massage needs to be combined with medicine to be effective, otherwise the body will gradually deteriorate in the future and you will get sick." "Don't pay attention to what he said," Bai Suxin interrupted her, and squeezed Bai Wei's hand tightly. "You promise Auntie that you will never touch that medicine again, and don't let anyone know about it. Can you do it?" Bai Wei stared at Bai Suxin in a daze, her eyes were confused. Since childhood, her aunt has been the best person to her besides her mother. Out of trust, Bai Wei finally nodded after hesitating. "Good boy." Bai Suxin hugged her gently, her voice was very soft. "Auntie won't hurt you. After I leave, you have to take good care of yourself, you are still young, there is still time." Someone outside called Bai Suxin's name. Bai Suxin stopped talking, got up and prepared to leave. When she reached the door, she hesitated for a moment, then came back again and told Bai Wei, "Remember, never take that medicine again." Bai Wei nodded. Bai Suxin looked at her complicatedly, then turned and left. Bai Wei watched her aunt leave, feeling faintly uneasy in her heart, at a loss and without a clue. Why did you suddenly say such things to her? Why can't anyone know? Is there something wrong with that medicine? But they've been eating it all these years, there's nothing wrong with it. The prescription is handed down from the ancestors, it is specially prepared for women, and combined with meridian combing, it can strengthen the body and prolong life. It is said that people of my great-grandfather's generation were once appreciated by the Empress Dowager by relying on this prescription. With the passage of time, this statement has evolved into many versions, and it is impossible to verify it, but the women in the family do look much younger than ordinary people after taking the medicine. Her mother, her eldest aunt, her two cousins, and her, began to take medicine on the first day of menstruation every month, and took it for 7 consecutive days. Aunt Bai Suxin, 38 years old, has given birth to a child, but no matter in appearance or figure, she is no different from a young girl in her 20s. Of course, the efficacy of the medicine varies from person to person. Just like the weight loss drugs on the market, some people can lose 10 jin after taking it, while others only lose 2 or 3 jin after taking it. My aunt is the one with the most obvious effect of the medicine, followed by my mother, and then my aunt. She and her cousins are still young and have taken the medicine for a short time, so they can't see anything now. As for why you take the medicine, the reason is also very simple: the good things passed down from the ancestors will benefit the descendants. Why not do it if it can help your health? If the effect is good, it will be a living signboard of the Beijia Medical Center, so why worry about no one coming to see a doctor? Bai Wei had menarche at the age of 15 and had been taking the medicine for 5 full years. Now her aunt said that she must never touch that medicine again, and she refused to even tell the reason. This made Bai Wei feel panicked. Her mother was babbling indistinctly in her ear. Bai Wei came back to her senses, picked up the bowl again, and fed water to her mother. A spoonful of water was fed, and half a spoonful could flow out. The mother became more and more confused, and she couldn't even swallow simply. Looking at such a mother, Bai Wei felt sore and heavy in her heart, and sighed softly. With something on her mind, she was in a trance, and went to the hospital the next day. Although she tried hard to concentrate, she was not a machine after all, and her state was difficult to control. The nurse who was on shift with her saw that she was doing things a little slower than usual, and asked her, "Did you not have a good rest yesterday?" I have insomnia, I don't go to bed until 3 o'clock," Bai Wei said. The colleague said, "I think you might as well ask for leave today, and go back to catch up on sleep. You are so groggy, you can't work, right?" Bai Wei thought for a while, nodded and said, "Then I'll go talk to the head nurse." As soon as the words were finished, a doctor walked in. "Bai Wei, go through the discharge procedures for the 12th bed, and change the dressing for the 8th bed. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1394. "Dr. Zhou, I'm not feeling well today, and I want to ask for a leave," Bai Wei said. "Can someone else go first?" A little uncomfortable, the doctor frowned with displeasure on his face. "Who cares if you are uncomfortable at work? What if you are in an operation now? What if you want to rescue the patient now? If you have difficulties, the first thing to think about is how to overcome them. Don't push back and forth as soon as you come up. You are not feeling well today, tomorrow she is not feeling well, forget about asking for leave. Do you still want to work? I think you nurses are too delicate, and when it comes to work, you say you are not feeling well." Bai Wei was so embarrassed that she couldn't lift her head up. The doctor said indifferently, "After the 12-bed discharge procedure is completed, remember to remove the sheet and mattress on the bed and take it to the cleaning room for disinfection." Bai Wei pursed her lips and nodded her head. "Got it?" When the doctor left, the colleagues around Bai Wei finally couldn't hold back anymore, and said in justice, "This Zhou Fulan is not a joke. There are so many nurses in our hospital, but he wants to keep an eye on you. He also has a righteous personality who doesn't know that he refused his pursuit because he hated you. His heart is smaller than the eye of a needle. He's so benevolent, I'm sorry." Bai Wei sighed, "Forget it, he's a doctor, he needs the cooperation of our nurses, so it's hard to refuse." "Are you just letting him bully you like this?" The colleague grabbed her arm. "Don't be stupid, what can he do to you if you leave after taking your leave? If he can't find you, he will naturally call another nurse go do those things. Hey, he just doesn't feel well, and he will get better after he breathes out, but if he doesn't breathe out now, it will only be endless." Bai Wei sighed, "Don't worry, I know it well." The colleague pouted, You just have a too good temper." Bai Wei smiled faintly, and waved her hands. "Stop talking, I'll go over first, or he will come over to scold people again in a while. Nurses are like this, they are always angry, doctors, and patients. Many girls who work as nurses can't persist after a few years of study, and change jobs to do other jobs. Bai Wei chose this career because she really likes it. She loved to take care of others since she was a child, and her medical skills were passed down from male to female, and when her cousins were dancing rubber bands in the yard, she served tea and water and packed medicinal materials to the patients in the medical center. "Even if I don't study medicine and just do some chores, I feel happy." Bai Wei was busy all day in the hospital. That Dr. Zhou was really persistent. As long as he saw that Bai Wei had some free time, he would immediately find her a job, so that she was so busy that she didn't even eat lunch, and when she got off work, she was so hungry that her chest was pressed against her back. After changing into the nurse uniform, Bai Wei picked up her bag and hurried out. "I was looking forward to meeting a seller of roasted sweet potatoes on the road. I was so hungry that I couldn't wait to go home for dinner. I just wanted to eat something to fill my stomach." Bai Wei. Bai Wei couldn't help but twitch the corners of her mouth when a familiar voice sounded like a magic voice. She turned around slowly and saw Dr. Zhou Fulan, who was also off duty. Let's go together, I happen to be off work too, Jo Fulin said, walking side by side with her. Can't say no. This is the only way out of the hospital. Bai Wei forced a smile, and walked out with him in silence. You said you were not feeling well today, are you feeling better now? Dr. Joe asked with concern, his attitude almost changed drastically. Bai Wei replied softly, it's better. Was my tone too harsh in the morning? Dr. Joe asked. Bai Wei, you don't blame me, do you? Well, you are also for work, I understand. It's good that you didn't blame me, Dr. Joe said earnestly. I know, I've been a little strict with you for a while, but in fact, I'm really doing my best for you. The hospital will select a group of excellent medical staff, sent to other places to study. Everyone is within the scope of inspection, you understand what I mean. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1395. A slap in the face and a sweet date, that's about it. Bai Wei didn't have any ideas, she was pure-minded, she just wanted to do her job well, she never wanted to fight for anything, and she never thought about the twists and turns in other people's hearts. Dr. Joe said, I will assign more work to you, so that the hospital leaders can see more of your work results, and you will have a great advantage in future evaluations. Did you know that the competition in the hospital is fierce, and it is very difficult for a junior nurse like you to be selected? But don't worry too much, I will try my best to help you. While talking, the two had already walked to the gate of the hospital. Bai Wei said in a low voice, well, Dr. Joe, thank you for thinking about me, but I have no plans to go to other places in the near future. Her mother is seriously ill, and there are not many days left, so it is impossible for her to leave her care and go to other places. Dr. Joe said disapprovingly, young people must be self-motivated. How can you miss such a rare learning opportunity? You don't have to be afraid of being unfamiliar with the place. I'm here, and I will take care of you. Before Bai Wei could speak, he said again, you must be very tired today, I'll take you home. There was a row of canopies at the entrance of the hospital, and bicycles were parked under the canopies. Dr. Joe rolled out a brand new one from inside, and walked up to Bai Wei with his head held high, quite airy. A passing colleague saw it and said, hey, Dr. Joe bought a bicycle. Is this a new model? Well, it's the latest model, Dr. Joe replied in a low-key manner, but the smile on the corner of his mouth couldn't be concealed, and he was extremely proud. At this time, bicycles were in short supply, and brand-name new bicycles were high-end products that ordinary people could not afford. It can be said that Dr. Joe's bicycle would be quite a sight to ride. But Bai Wei didn't want to be in his favor at all. If she sits on it, and let others see it, she will definitely think that she is in a relationship with Dr. Joe. How can she explain it clearly in the future? When she was in trouble, she heard someone calling her. Bai Wei, why are you here? Musician walked over holding a bouquet of flowers. I've been waiting for you outside for a long time. When Bai Wei saw Musician, her eyes froze for a moment. He is really different today. The hair is pulled back like Chow Yun-fat in God of Gamblers, the bangs are all combed back, and the black is shiny after applying pomade. Wearing a white shirt and anthracite striped suit, he is straight, and his black leather shoes are shiny, which can compete with his hair. This outfit is so fashionable and eye-catching. Not to mention that he also has a large bouquet of bright pink flowers in his hand. Standing at the entrance of the hospital, it is as conspicuous as a flash bomb. Bai Wei had the urge to run away. Musician came over, threw the flowers into her arms regardless, raised his chin slightly, and looked at Dr. Joe, who is this person? Bai Wei has already strongly felt the scrutinizing gazes from all around her. She lowered her head and introduced awkwardly, "This is Dr. Zhou." Before he finished speaking, Dr. Zhou looked at Mu Zixuan vigilantly, "Who are you? What is your relationship with Bai Wei?" "Can't see it," Mu Zixuan grabbed Bai Wei's shoulders, "isn't it obvious enough?" "Bai Wei. You have a boyfriend." Zhou Fulin suddenly lost his composure. Bai Wei hurriedly waved her hands, "No. Me, and him, we actually." She wanted to explain, but she was so embarrassed that she didn't know where to start. She was flustered, and seeing the director of the hospital come out by chance, Bai Wei panicked even more. In this situation, no one wants to be seen by the leader. "What do you think of the hospital? The work style of the place is so frivolous, wait for the meeting to name and criticize." Bai Wei was so anxious that she wanted to cry, "I was seen by the dean." "You are going to kill me." "That's your dean." Mu Zixuan glanced at it, thought for a while, and walked towards the dean with big strides. "Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1396. Bai Wei's heart immediately went up to her throat. God! What on earth is he going to do? Are you trying to scare her to death? Bai Wei hesitated whether to step forward to stop her. She was really afraid of Mu Zixuan's mouth talking nonsense in front of the dean. However, in the next moment, she watched as Mu Zixuan and the dean shook hands cordially. The two laughed and talked, as if they were good friends. Bai Wei's eyes widened in surprise. Dr. Zhou Fulin's eyes were bigger than hers. His face changed from slightly annoyed red to embarrassing blue, and then to anxious and apprehensive white. He muttered something, which seemed to be a curse word, then turned around, got on his bicycle, and walked away in a hurry. The dean and Mu Zixuan walked out while talking, and when they passed by Bai Wei, they paused and smiled kindly. "Don't work too hard at ordinary times, young people, you should relax when it's time to relax, combine work and rest, in order to have higher work efficiency." Bai Wei was completely dazed. She nodded and said yes, and then watched the dean leave. She has been working in the hospital for almost a year, and this is the first time she has had one-on-one communication with the dean. Usually, she listens to the dean's speech with other nurses during meetings in the hospital at most. The dean had already walked away. Mu Zixuan stretched out his hand and waved in front of Bai Wei's eyes. "What are you looking at? Everyone has already left, don't be in a daze." Bai Wei regained consciousness and looked at him in disbelief. "How did you know the director of our hospital?" Mu Zixuan shrugged indifferently, "I don't know." "Don't know?" Bai Wei's eyes widened. "Then you still shake hands, you still say hello, talk, and laugh." "I just walked over and told him that it's been a long time. I had the honor to meet you last time at the mayor's daughter's wedding banquet. I don't know if you still remember me?" "Then your dean said he did, and he praised me for being young and promising. It is a rare young talent that impresses him deeply." Bai Wei. With her straightforward and simple mind, it is really difficult to understand Mu Zixuan's behavior. You are like this, isn't this a lie?" She was very troubled. Mu Zixuan smiled, with a bit of blatant evil. "Then you have to keep this secret well. If people know that your dean has been tricked, it doesn't matter that I am a liar, your dean will be miserable, it will look very brainless and embarrassing." Bai Wei pursed her lips silently. She really didn't dare to speak out. "Let's go, I'll take you for a ride." Mu Zixuan walked out with Bai Wei in his arms. Bai Wei shook her head. "I have to go home, my family will worry if it's late." "Just your short legs, take a walk home for at least half an hour, and I'll take you for a ride for at most 15 minutes, before it's too late." Mu Zixuan half coaxed and half pushed Bai Wei out of the hospital gate. There was a car parked on the side of the road, a red Xiaoli, which was considered to be the most fashionable car at that time. Mu Zixuan opened the door to let Bai Wei get in the car. Bai Wei stood still and asked in surprise, "Where did you get the car?" In the era when owning a bicycle was considered a luxury, such a large item as a car was simply out of reach for ordinary people. Unimaginable. Mu Zishuan said, "I borrowed it." "You borrowed this clothes too?" Bai Wei asked. Mu Zishuan was about to answer, but just as he opened his mouth, he couldn't help but change his mind. He smiled and teased Bai Wei, "Am I handsome dressed like this?" Bai Wei was stunned for a moment, then her eyes dodged unknowingly, she lowered her eyes and replied, "It's not bad." Although she actually thinks it's a bit exaggerated, but he looks good no matter what. "What does it mean?" Mu Zishuan corrected her, "You can only answer handsome, or not handsome." Bai Wei pursed her lips, and answered in cooperation with him, "Handsome." Mu Zishuan was very happy when he got the compliment, and said, "From now on, I'll show you how handsome I am every day." Bai Wei. She was speechless for a moment, and couldn't help muttering in a low voice, "Smelly." However, I felt a little happy for no reason. In the middle of the night, there was a little accident, which caused me to get up in the middle of the night to make up. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1398. Sitting in the car, Mu Zishuan stuffed a bag of fresh blueberries into her arms. "It's all washed, you should pad your stomach first." Bai Wei had never seen such a fruit before, picked one up, squeezed it curiously, and ate it. What kind of fruit is this?" Bai Wei said, "It's sour and delicious." At this time, the varieties of fruits on the market were relatively single, mostly apples, bananas, pears, oranges, and pineapples were rare. Mu Zishuan started the car, grabbed a few from her arms with one hand and threw them into his mouth. "It seems to be blueberries. If you like them, I'll bring them for you next time. I have a big basket at home, and no one eats them." Bai Wei said, "Bring it to me, I can't finish it, what a waste if it goes bad." "It's okay, this fruit can be made into jam." "I don't know how to make jam." "I will." Mu Zishuan glanced at her with a smile, "I will tell you how to do it next time." Bai Wei thought for a while, then pursed her lips and smiled slightly, "Okay, but I can't take advantage of you for nothing, I will give you something good next time." Mu Zishuan was driving the car with a smile on his lips, thinking, how could this be called taking advantage? This is my willingness to pamper you and love you. But hearing her last words, my heart was tickled again. "You bring me food, I bring you food, come and go, won't the relationship be settled?" "Okay, it's a deal." Mu Zishuan nodded vigorously, stepped on the gas pedal to the bottom, and flew straight on the road. Bai Wei turned pale with shock. "God, slow down. It's too fast." "It's okay. I can't hit anyone," Mu Zishuan laughed. "Even if you don't hit people, it's not good to scare them." Bai Wei saw the car galloping fast, and the piercing car horn was like a death talisman, which made one's scalp tingle. A bicycle on the side of the road was frightened, the faucet turned in the wrong direction, and fell down. "Ah! That man fell down." Bai Wei hurriedly turned her head to look back, worrying that the other party might be injured, but she recognized the disgraced man as Dr. Zhou Fulin. Mu Zishuan's voice was still so arrogant, and he said with a smile, "It's his bad luck if he fell. Anyway, I didn't hit him." The car was driving too fast, and the gust of wind rushed in, messing up her hair, and she couldn't see Zhou Fulin's distressed figure clearly. Bai Wei turned her head and looked at Mu Zishuan beside her. His profile is young and handsome, a little youthful and childish in his arrogance. She silently picked up a blueberry and put it in her mouth. The mood at this moment is like the taste in the mouth at this moment, it is a strange fragrance and sweet and sour. Mu Zishuan took Bai Wei to the river embankment in Qingjiang City, and took a comfortable ride for a while before sending her home. After returning to Mu's house, Master Mu was a little displeased to know that he drove out without permission. You are not old enough to get a driver's license, so you drive out so recklessly. What if something happens? Mu Zishuan opened his arms and stood in front of Master Mu. Father, I dress like this, do you want me to ride a bicycle to the streets? Don't you have a driver at home? Master Mu said in a deep voice. I'm going out with my friends, so bringing a driver is in the way. Mu Zishuan didn't think so. Besides, with my outfit, the traffic police would be stupid to think that I'm not old enough. Isn't the three-wheeler full of streets enough for him to catch? No matter what, you are not allowed to drive out without permission in the future. Master Mu said seriously. If you want to drive, you must bring a driver. Mu Zishuan replied in a slow tone, I know, I know. Master Mu asked again, tell me honestly, have you got a girlfriend? No. You went out with a lot of flowers in your hands, and you dressed like this again, tell me you didn't. Mu Zishuan smiled, haven't I caught up yet? As he was talking, he saw the kitchen servant passing by with sharp eyes, and quickly shouted, and who? And who? How did you get the jam when you said last time? Master Mu watched him run out with a helpless expression. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1399. Mu Zishuan is pursuing Bai Wei sincerely. As soon as school was over, I hurried home, changed my clothes, and then ran to the hospital, rain or shine, and never tired of it. The relationship between the two has also gradually warmed up. Although Bai Wei was timid and did not express it clearly, when her friends and colleagues teased her that she had a young boyfriend, she did not retort excitedly, which was a bit tacit. Mu Zishuan made a jar full of blueberry jam, and sent it to Bai Wei before it was ready to ferment. Bai Wei gave him a small box of pear paste candy, made of pears and sugar, plus several different Chinese medicinal materials, which can relieve cough. Every day, after getting off work, she would take a long detour and go for a walk along the embankment with Mu Zishuan to enjoy some fresh air. Occasionally, I went to the backyard of Grandma Liu's house to feed the cat. The white cat was getting fatter and fatter. Even though she knew it was not Ziofen, Bai Wei still felt comforted. During the holiday, Mu Zishuan spent money to buy Uncle Fatty's business hours for the whole day, prepared a box, and waited to watch movies with Bai Wei. Sometimes he would play tricks on her, intentionally misplace the videotapes of third-rate movies, and Bai Wei was so angry that she raised her small fist to beat him. Sometimes she would cry so much that the teardrops were very low while watching the film. While he felt sorry for her, anxious, and heartbroken, he thought intoxicatedly, I can cry so beautifully, she is indeed my woman. Such days are happy and leisurely, sour and sweet, and every day seems to be studded with diamonds, shining brilliantly. Master Mu actually disapproved of his son's early involvement in the relationship between men and women. At the end of the June semester, he got Mu Zishuan's top report card, and finally swallowed the words of teaching. However, this summer has not been easy. Bai Wei's mother passed away. Alzheimer's disease generally does not have a direct impact on life expectancy, but after the disease enters the advanced stage, the behavioral ability almost degenerates to zero, the resistance also continues to decline, and eventually dies of various complications. Because I have been ill for a long time, when death comes, it does not feel unacceptable, but a sense of relief. Freeing the dead also frees others. Sadness and pain still exist, and when the lights are turned off at night, there will be soft crying sounds coming from Bai Wei's room. Mu Zishuan stood outside the courtyard wall near her window for most of the night, and only when the crying was no longer heard could she go home in peace. With his short 15-year life, he still can't understand the weight of life and death. In October, Bai Wei's aunt married far away. All the way to the train station, the train roared away. Bai Wei stood on the platform crying like a helpless child. The two women who had been giving her care and companionship in her life finally, all abandoned her. At night when there are mingled toasts and cups, Mu's house is brightly lit. Master Mu held a reception at his home with great enthusiasm. He invited most of the famous people in Xinjiang city, especially those with children at home. Boys and girls aged 15 or 16 gathered together, and the youthful atmosphere came over them. Feel alive. Mu Zixuan is the most conspicuous among them, with a tall and straight figure, sharp eyes, and a kind of calm at a young age. Boss Mu is good at teaching his children. I heard that the young master has always been the first in school, someone praised. Master Mu smiled and said, he's a bit clever, but he's still far away from becoming a talent. At present, the educational resources in China are still relatively weak. I plan to send him to study in England when he turns 16. The two daughters of Boss Yu's family will also go to England next year, and it is just right for them to go together as companions. Really, that would be great. Master Mu nodded with a smile. Mu Zixuan is not stupid, today's banquet is obviously aimed at him. He talked to Mr. Mu in private. Father, what do you mean today? I'm almost at the end of my cultivation, why are you making such a mess? Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1400. The smile on Master Mu's face faded a little, and he said, it's not to make trouble, but to make you sober and see that there are still many choices around you, those who can play the piano, those who speak foreign languages, those who understand business, there are all types. Eyes just staring at the women of the Bai family is not what smart people do. Mu Zixuan was slightly startled, looking at Master Mu. Thinking about it, he has been with Bai Wei for a while, it is impossible for the old man to know nothing about it. Someone came over to greet him again. Master Mu greeted him with a smile, ignoring Mu Zixuan's reaction. Halfway through the banquet, the butler Li Bo whispered to Master Mu, Master, the young master is gone. Master Mu frowned, have you looked for the room? I've searched for it. There is no room, garden, or study room. I asked the bodyguard at the gate of the courtyard, but I didn't see the young master going out. Hearing this, Master Mu frowned even deeper. He was hesitating whether to send someone to look for Bai's house, when he caught a glimpse of a servant in the corner from the corner of his eye, looking at him with a smile that was not a smile. It's Mu Zixuan. He changed into a servant's clothes, combed his hair again, and stood in the corner with a plate, with a mocking sneer in the corner of his mouth. Master Mu's face darkened. At this time, the housekeeper also discovered the existence of Mu Zixuan, and was dumbfounded. Let him go to my study. Master Mu suppressed his anger and said, before getting up and going upstairs. After a while, Mu Zixuan went to the study. Master Mu pointed at him and said angrily, look at you. What do you look like? Mu Zixuan chuckled lightly, what do you look like? Could it be that I'm not your son if I change my clothes? Am I not the young master of the Mu family? Are you going to piss me off? Master Mu slapped the table violently, his expression turned extremely ugly. You want to fight against me for a yellow-haired girl? Mu Zixuan also turned cold. Father, why don't you understand? Those women don't know me at all. They only know the young master of the Mu family. Did you see it? I change my clothes and they don't recognize me. No, they don't even look at me. But Bai Wei is different. She really likes me. Even if I change into a beggar's clothes, she will not despise me. I don't care if she can play the piano or not, I care about her. How old are you? Can you understand what liking is? Master Mu couldn't bear to drink in a low voice. Mu Zixuan smiled coldly, even if I don't know what I like, at least I can clearly distinguish what I don't like. I don't like any of those women outside. Bastard, Master Mu was so angry that his voice trembled. Remembering that his father was in his 50s and his health was not good, Mu Zishuan sighed and said in a soft tone, "Dad, haven't you always been very open-minded? Why do you have to be stubborn on this matter? By way, what's wrong?" Master Mu said, "She is 5 years older than you. You are biased. My mother is almost 20 years younger than you. Didn't she still marry you? Can a man be the same as a woman? Don't everyone advocate equality between men and women now? Why can women find men 20 years older than themselves, but men can't find women 5 years older than themselves? You bastard. Stop messing around with me." Master Mu couldn't break him off, and said harshly, "Anyone can, except the women of the Bai family." Mu Zishuan asked, "Why?" "No reason. If you must have her, well, go out and buy a house to raise it. My Mu family does not lack this food, but it is absolutely impossible to be the young mistress of the Mu family." Mu Zishuan was annoyed. "Why is it impossible? Why is it impossible? I just fell in love with her. I won't marry anyone but her."